My husband and I have 3 kids, a baby, a toddler, and young grammar school age. My husband has a high-profile job, which means he's gone often. I work a regular 9 to 5. We originally used daycare for our oldest, but my middle was born right when the global issue began, so we hired a nanny. She originally worked when I did, but by the time the baby came around, I was very overwhelmed, doing baths and bedtime on my own, on top of developing postpartum depression. After a breakdown, we spoke with the nanny, and she agreed to adjust her hours, so she's helping me with dinner, bath, and bed. We've gotten close over the past 6 months doing this. In many ways, she's become like a third parent to the kids. She's so good with them. We've created a routine that works well. I tend to the baby during bath and bed. She handles the older 2. It's a nice rhythm, and my mental health has improved. My husband isn't traveling all the time, but most nights, he isn't even home for dinner and bed. He'll help me on weekends when he's home, but because he's gone so often, he's reluctant to be firm with the kids. There are times he's come home when our nanny's there. He tries to help her with bath and bed, but allows the boys to roughhouse, lets them break the routine, and it seriously throws them off and delays bedtime. My nanny shared with me she feels awkward. She doesn't want to undermine her employer, but it makes her job harder. But my husband also doesn't want her to go home when he arrives, as he says he can't handle it alone. I told him that if that's the case, he must defer to the nanny and follow her lead. She knows our boys best, and she has to deal with the aftermath when they don't listen and they give her a hard time. My husband feels that she's just an employee and he's the dad. His salary does pay for her. However, I don't feel this is fair to her. I told him he follows her lead for bed and bath, or he doesn't help at all. He told me I was allowing the nanny to take over and replace him. Am I the idiot? Edit. The roughhousing is to the point where they get hurt and or create hazards for everyone in the household. The tub isn't playtime. Yes, there are toys, but they just can't wrestle and jump on each other or try to jump in and out of the tub. It's a safety issue. The other night, my middle son busted his lip because my husband was letting him jump up and down in the tub. You are the idiot. Dad supports all of y'all and also doesn't get to see his kids often. And you didn't make it seem like it was a choice, but more of a maintenance of lifestyle. Dad is paying her salary. And while yes, nanny should be treated as a member of the family, the dad should be able to have fun with his kids. Yeah, it's not ideal, and dad should 100% not make this an all-the-time thing. But when your kids are grown, they'll value these memories with their father. Once a week or so, especially on weekends, of breaking bedtime is nothing compared to your kids' happiness. Not the idiot. Your husband doesn't want a parent. Instead, your husband wants to be fun-time uncle who comes in, rolls everyone up, dishes out sweets, makes sure they don't make their bedtimes, and then dips out when the children start having unpleasant reactions to the disruption. I'm feeling salty on OP's behalf. My husband feels that she's just an employee and he's the dad. Wow. Just wow. Nannies are employees, but they straddle a unique line because a good nanny is part of the children's family. By his scale, a doctor is also an employee, and he would disregard the doctor's instructions because he knew better? He's trying to Disney dad his way out of his guilt over being a mainly absent parent. Instead, he needs to actually take responsibility for putting the kids to bed if he wants to disrupt the schedule. Exactly. This is the crux of your situation. Horseplay and roughhousing are very important for your children's development. If dad wants to take over and play hee-haw, he can do that well. That's great. But he can't take over, create a mess, and then have the nanny come to put the fire out. If the nanny takes care of business, we play by her rules. If dad is taking care of business, then we can play by his. My dad died when I was 7, and my mom remarried when I was 9. My mom's husband has a daughter the same age as me, Carrie. Carrie's mom is a crappy person, And last year, my stepdad learned that his ex stole from Carrie and took all the money my stepdad had saved for Carrie's college. Carrie was upset because she really wanted to go to college, and what she wanted to do meant 8 years in college. She wanted as much help as possible, but now it's all gone. They've been talking about it a lot, and my stepdad tried to find a way to get more money, since even though he's pressed charges against his ex, the money is long gone, and there's no way to get it back. My mom asked me if I'd be willing to share the money my dad left me for college with Carrie, and she told me how good of a sister I would be to help her after being betrayed by her mom, that I didn't need to, but it would mean so much to everyone. I told her I didn't want to share the money with Carrie. Mom said okay, but then wanted to know why. I didn't tell her the whole truth initially and told her I just wanted to keep the money for myself since it was saved by Dad and what he wanted for my future. But she didn't really buy that from me, and a week or two later, she asked me again. So I told her the truth, that Carrie and I are not close. We're not sisters, and I don't want to help someone in such a huge way when I really don't care about them or even care if they're in my life. Mom told me she was surprised I felt that way. Then I pointed out, she and her husband have known for years. They used to point out how we never interacted like siblings, and she told me she figured we still loved each other somehow. I told her I didn't anyway. Mom then told me I was wrong to refuse to help for that reason. Whether I like it or not, we are siblings and family, and Carrie deserves to have this. She told me I was being very selfish, and she hoped my dad would be angry at me for not embracing Carrie as a sister, despite our issues, and not helping her. Then she told her husband what I said, and he was angry with me. Am I the idiot? You are not the idiot, and please make sure they can't get a hold of that money. Your dad wanted that for you, no one else. Carrie has her own father to provide for her. Your mother's out of line. Carrie's your stepsister. You can acknowledge her as a sibling, but that doesn't mean you need to like her, love her, or give her your father's money. Right, that's not money your dad left for your mother's children's college. It's money your dad left for you. You have no obligation here. I would be angry if I provided for my child's future and they gave it away, but I wouldn't be angry that they used what I'd provided for them. I don't think your dad would be angry at you, and I think it was manipulative of your mom to suggest that he would. Exactly. This is the job of Carrie's dad and OP's mom to fix, since mom is so invested in this. No more vacations, no more eating out. Brown bag their lunches, move to a studio apartment in a cheap neighborhood, sell the house, take the bus, sell their cars, sell any other toys, boat, whatever. No more cable TV, etc. Oh, and liquidate all other savings, assets, etc. until such time as Carrie's money is recovered. If they haven't done all this, asking OP to sacrifice is gross and wrong. If they've done all this, asking is not necessarily wrong, but they still need to accept a no without comment or consequence. Asking OP to sacrifice before the parents have done so is disgusting. Over the last 3 years, I worked my butt off to lose 120 pounds, and I look and feel amazing. I've been obese for almost my whole childhood and adulthood, and it feels almost like life has finally begun. I posted my before and after on Facebook because I'm a dinosaur at heart, and I got a message shortly after from Len, my friend's girlfriend. Len is over 300 pounds, which, I don't recommend it, but if that's your choice, then whatever. She also claims that she's an atypical anorexic who gains weight because she only eats 500 calories a day. That is blatantly not true, but not my circus, not my monkeys. Len said that it was very inappropriate to post a weight loss before and after without a warning because it could cause a relapse in people with EDs, and that if I absolutely had to post it, I should make it an album with a black cover photo and a warning so that people would have to click through to see the actual photo. The message also contained a long and unscientific rant about my personal choices that are not super relevant here, but didn't do much to get me in the mood to make these accommodations. So I told her that I was going to go ahead and post whatever I wanted on my personal Facebook. If she didn't like seeing it, she should probably unfollow me. I guess that was a declaration of war because she absolutely blew up at me and dragged her girlfriend / my friend into the mix, along with some other mutual friends. And it's a big chaos of, it's no big deal to just hide the photo, me, versus it's no big deal to just unfollow her, Lynn. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Other people's triggers aren't your problem. It's your profile. You're allowed to celebrate your achievements. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel her hatred towards your post is actually an act of jealousy. You probably don't want to find out. I wouldn't waste another second on this. Unfriend her, block her, and move on. And if you get questioned on why you blocked her, say you didn't want to be responsible for triggering her any further. Great job on dedicating yourself and not placing it on other people. Agree. She's delusional and is just looking for something to argue about. You can't show that you're doing better than me. Also, I eat the same amount of calories as a toddler, and the fat just gets to me through air. I bet she eats 500 calories and drinks 3,500. Or don't count the sauces. In all seriousness, a lot of people discount how much they drink and the calories it comes with. A couple of beers at night, a sweet iced tea for lunch, an OJ, a milk for breakfast. Lots of people see that as normal, but it's literally like 600 to 800 calories extra, an entire mega cookie, or an entire meal every single day. My husband and I meet with a group of friends, 8 people total, every Friday. We choose a brewery, meet there for a couple of beers, and play games. Cards Against Humanity, Uno, Trivial Pursuit. Just a fun night with friends, and an all-around good time. We're all in our 30s and 40s. Some of us have small kids. Others, like us, are empty nesters. It's an adult-only thing, so the friends in the group with the small kids get babysitters so we can have adult time. We went to the brewery last week, about an hour and a half drive for 4 out of the 8 of us that we've wanted to try for almost a year. My husband and I got there first and found a large picnic-style table close to the bar while we waited for our group to get there. It was 2 large picnic tables side by side, and you could easily fit our group on one table and another large group on the other. While waiting, a woman approached us and asked if she and her group could take the other side of one of the tables. Of course, we told her yes, and she signaled for a friend's partner. He came to the table, and he held an infant carrier and was holding a toddler's hand. I immediately looked at my husband and said, it would have been nice of her to mention that they had kids with them. A few minutes after they sat down, the rest of their group, 6 people in total, came to the table, and each of them had kids with them. One of the kids, who was a toddler, was screaming to be put down and immediately started running when they did. I was pretty upset and told the woman that it was really not cool of her to not even mention that their entire group had small children and that there were plenty of other tables that would have accommodated them in the tap room. They ended up moving tables, but not after the friend and partner of the first woman said it was not cool of me to make them move tables. My husband said that I was out of line, and when we told this to our friends, they were split, with half of them agreeing that it wasn't okay for them to not say anything about the kids, and the others saying there's no rule against having kids in the tap room, so I should have just let it go. So am I the idiot for calling out a woman at the brewery? Edit. This was not a restaurant. This was an actual brewery/tap room that brews and serves craft beers. Where I live, they're forbidden by state law to serve food of any kind. The only non-alcoholic drink is water. I get it. I don't want to deal with crying and screaming children, but she was under no obligation to tell you they had kids. You're in public. You're going to have to assume people have children, and they're going to be around you. You could also have up and moved as well the minute you saw that they had kids, instead of being rude. Sorry, but you are the idiot. Yeah, why didn't you just move tables yourself after her whole group showed up? If there were other tables that would accommodate her group, There were certainly tables that would accommodate your group. And at this point, it was just the two of you. So would it have not been less hassle for you to move rather than make that whole group move? Yeah, but not everyone's expecting children at a brewery, especially when your own group gets babysitters, specifically not to have children around. OP's not the idiot. It's a brewery where the primary thing that is served is beer. It's absurd that entitled parents have decided that breweries are acceptable for kids. The same parents would be crucified if they brought kids into a bar whose primary thing being served is alcohol. I don't understand why it suddenly became acceptable to have kids around intoxicated adults. Makes no sense. I, 26 male, have been dating Ella, 22 female, for 2 months now. My family's from an Asian background, so most of the food I cook for myself includes peanuts and other nuts because it's an important ingredient in my cultural dishes. I live alone, so I just make my own food for myself, but because of Ella's allergy, I don't make food with peanuts in them when I know I'm also cooking for her. Her allergy is only reactive if she ingests a good amount of the actual nut and is unaffected by smell, airborne, and small traces of cross-contamination. Recently, I made a dish that contains heavy usage of nuts blended into the curry, so you can't see that they're there, and I left the leftovers in my fridge. Ella came over while I was in the shower. During that time, she apparently went into my fridge, helped herself to a big portion of the curry, and immediately started having an allergic reaction. Luckily, she had her EpiPen and was okay after a few minutes. Still, she absolutely went off on me and kept accusing me of causing her harm. I felt extremely guilty that she had a bad allergic reaction to my food. I apologized profusely and offered to take her to the hospital, but she was just screaming at me the whole time. Finally, she said that if I really cared about her, I should have labeled all of my food for her and let her know ahead of time exactly what in the fridge had nuts. I understand that this is extremely scary and important for her health, but at the same time, she, 1, never asked me to label things before, 2, went into my fridge and helped herself to my food without even asking me, 3, got mad at me for cooking my cultural dishes at all because they have her allergen in them. I told her that in the future, I'll try to put a sticky note on the containers that have nuts in the food so this doesn't happen again, but that she also can't blame me for her allergic reaction when she ate my food without even asking me if she could or what was in it. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She's responsible for not eating a dish if she doesn't know what's in it. You don't need to label your food or change your cooking process. She just needs to ask you if something has nuts before eating it. Also, it's kind of a red flag that she's assuming all the food in your home would be peanut-free when you've only been dating for 2 months. As someone with major allergies, it's my responsibility and mine alone to ensure the food I eat doesn't cause me to go into a crisis. WTF was she thinking? Also, why the blowout to you? She's being careless with her health and a significant idiot to you. Run for the hills, OP. That witch sounds unhinged, entitled, and manipulative. Dude, spoiler alert, she thinks the world revolves around her. Do you want to keep up with this for a moment longer? Let alone a lifetime of putting sticky notes on anything you enjoy eating? It's your apartment, your fridge, your food. She should accept that your own personal space is your personal space. That means you can strip naked, lather yourself with chocolate fudge, roll around in peanuts, and call yourself a sundae if it pleases you. The more significant issue is she doesn't even live there, and it's unrealistic to expect you to always think of her in your home. It's her personal responsibility to manage her own allergy.